Gita. From the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we'll discuss the progressive levels of bhakti. So we'll start with Jai Radha Madhava. Jaya. Prabhu, can you display? Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajajana Ranjana, Jaya Yamuna Tira Vartari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Yamuna Tira, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajana Ranjana, Jaya Brajana Ranjana. Jaya Brajana Ranjana, Jaya Brajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vartari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Yamuna Tira. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jayo Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Narahari Lakshmi Narasimha Narahari Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. So we'll recite the Mangalacharan now before we start the discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. Oh, we can all recite it together. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Vajitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasharane Nirvesesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Desarane. So we'll read, I thought we will read from the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita today, where Krishna discusses the progressive levels of bhakti, or rather, the sequences in the inverse. So it's a very nice, it starts, basically this, the verses which cover this particular topic, the section on the chapter is verses from 8 to 12. Krishna covers, in these verses, the progressive levels of bhakti. So can we project 12th chapter, 8th verse, Prabhu? Bhagavad Gita. It's a very nice section, where Krishna starts off by saying that, perform, this is the verse he starts with. Basically, to just give you a quick summary, Krishna talks about, in the beginning of the verse, fix your mind and intelligence upon me. That's the verse he starts with. And offer your full consciousness, in the sense of, offer your full consciousness to Krishna. How many of us would like to offer our full consciousness to Krishna? Okay, almost everybody. So, then, of course, we all understand that it's not so easy, right? It's because we have to, our mind, our conditioning nature is, it's in a different direction than it is with Krishna. So it's not so easy to actually fulfill this verse or follow this verse. So that doesn't mean that Krishna doesn't say, okay, if you cannot do this, you're rejected. I mean, there are some religions which say, either you believe or you burn in hell, right? But Krishna consciousness is not like that. And Krishna is also not like that. Krishna is so broad-minded. Krishna is so magnanimous. Krishna is so kind and accommodating. And he's so merciful, actually. Of course, we know that, right, from so many different pastimes that Krishna performs throughout, that's actually recollected by many devotees or recited by Sukadeva Goswami in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Aho Bhakyam Sanakala Kutam. That is one very powerful verse which actually shows the level of Krishna's mercy. I mean, Uddhava is practically stunned, actually, just repeating that verse. And in fact, it's one of the verses actually which actually captures the attention of Sukadeva Goswami also. And from the Acharya's commentary, we know that Sukadeva Goswami is actually Brahman realized, right from, even before he was born, he was actually Brahman realized. So he didn't want to come out of his mother's womb. He said, what is the difference? He was already in the spiritual platform and he had nothing to do with the world anyway. So he thought, being inside or outside, it's all one and the same. And of course, he was also afraid. If I come out, actually, I'll be captured by the influence of Maya. And but one of the verses, actually, of course, Krishna himself comes and promises him that he won't be touched by Maya. But as Vyasadeva is actually reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the verses that actually captures his heart is this verse, Aho Bhakyam Sanakala Kutam. And of course, the other verses actually which talks about the beauty of Krishna's appearance, beauty of his form, actually, which is in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Putana, so Uddhava is saying, he's stunned. And then, basically, who can be more merciful than, you have liberated Putana, who has come, with the evil intention to actually, kill you. You have liberated her. How merciful, can you be? So Krishna is so kind and accommodating. And we know at other places also, there is a story of Kubja. There is so Krishna is so kind and is so benevolent and is so magnanimous. So Krishna in this particular section, he is talking about, okay, you fix your mind and intelligence upon me. Now, of course, we know that it's not such an easy, as a practicing devotees, we all realize that it's not so easy to fix the mind and the intelligence upon Krishna. It's not easy to do it while even chanting. Right? What to speak of doing so many other activities? We have so many other responsibilities. We have to take care of, most of us are householders. We have other responsibilities to take care. We have work, we have to earn a livelihood and so on and so forth. So Krishna then, he continues the verses and he says, okay, he understands, that is probably a big order for many people. Then he says, okay, if you cannot do this, then he gives another suggestion. And then next following verse, he says, if you cannot do this, then do this. So like that, if you know programming language, there is a if-else clause, right? If, a certain condition is met, then you do that. Like that. So Krishna is giving, a nested conditional if clause here, but he's very accommodating so that everybody can be accommodated in Krishna's direction, in his path. So we also know how, the devotees and Krishna is so merciful, and devotees also reflect that compassion and mercy. In fact, devotees are more merciful. This also happens, in when Dhruv Maharaj actually goes to the forest, and then Narada Muni actually, he meets Narada Muni. So the first set of instruction, what does Narada Muni give him? Huh? You can hold a mic and then you can.
Hare Krishna. So initially he says that you are just a child
Yeah.
and you are not supposed to show this attitude towards your mother. You can just go back and play.
Right. Yeah, he says, he gives that initial instruction, but I think Dhruv Maharaj is not happy. And then he still presses on that along the same lines. He says, the honor and dishonor are part of the world. These dualities will come and go. You should tolerate. And then you should just, behave like a child and go back to your home. And then, of course, it's a test actually that's coming from Narada Muni. But Dhruv Maharaj very honestly admits that, I'm Kshatriya by nature. All these instructions don't appeal to me very well. You give me instruction according to, my nature, that I can actually accept. Then Narada Muni actually then gives him, the process to actually attain or fulfill his desires actually. So devotees are very compassionate, like they're upon the conditions. So Krishna also here you can see his compassion. So let's read the first verse. I can recite and you can repeat after me. Mayeva mana adatsva Mayi buddhim niveshaya Nivashishyasi mayeva Ata urdvam na samshayaha. The translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Can one of you read the purport? Anyone, any volunteer who wants to read the purport?
One who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live on the material plane, he lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. When he offers Krishna food, Krishna directly accepts those eatables, and the devotee becomes Krishnaized by eating the remnants. One who does not engage in such service cannot understand how this is so. Although this is a process recommended in the Bhagavad Gita and in other Vedic literatures.
Yeah, can you just go on the top, Prabhu, again, the beginning of the purport? Yeah. So it's a very nice purport you can see. Prabhupada here is talking about. Of course, in the next verse, Prabhupada will compare it, between a sadhaka bhakti and a devotee, a pure devotee, a devotee who's attached to Krishna. So here he refers to a devotee who's actually attached to Krishna, which means that they can actually offer their full consciousness, with complete ease and steadiness. They can just seamlessly offer their consciousness and attention to Krishna. And of course, here Srila Prabhupada is talking about here, they don't live on the material plane, they live in Krishna. And they are basically in complete union with the Supreme Lord. Like Prabhupada himself is an example. In fact, one disciple of Prabhupada actually said, he was basically, making a point and also asking a question. He was basically, he said that Srila Prabhupada, it seems like, we are Krishna conscious, but sometimes it seems like, we fall into Maya. Actually, this is Yogeshwar Prabhu who makes this point. Then Prabhupada, he answers that particular, or he responds by saying that no. It's not that, we sometimes fall into Maya. Actually, we sometimes fall into Krishna. Most of the time we are in Maya and sometimes we fall into Krishna. So that is the stage of sadhaka bhakta. But the verse here is talking about a more advanced devotee who is spontaneously actually attracted to Krishna, so that he can offer his consciousness without any without any effort. He can seamlessly offer, because he's attached to Krishna, he can seamlessly offer his attention and consciousness to Krishna, mind and intelligence with Krishna. And very interestingly, of course, Queen Kunti, because we are all memorizing, at least trying to memorize Queen Kunti's prayers. Queen Kunti also makes a very similar prayer. She says, what does she say? Tvayi me ananya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit ratim udva hatad adha gange vauham udanmati. So she says, O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So this is actually the platform of such devotees who actually want their consciousness, to completely flow towards Krishna. And Prabhupada talks about here that one of the powerful ways by which we can actually always keep in contact with Krishna is by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we come in direct contact with Krishna. Of course, there are many verses which says that Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinatvam Nama Namino. So the Krishna's holy name and Lord Krishna are non-different. We are coming in direct contact with Krishna when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is one of the powerful means by which we can actually tip the scale. Right? As Krishna says in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, let me just pull up that verse, 6th chapter, I think 30th verse or 31st verse. He actually gives the symptom of a highly elevated advanced yogi. Or, you can also say bhakta. The same symptoms hold for a bhakta as well, a pure devotee. I think 629. Let's see. Yes, 630. Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam chamai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sachame na pranashyati. Says, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So that is actually the meaning of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada here is talking about he lives in Krishna. What does it mean, lives in Krishna? What does it mean? It's Krishna consciousness. Being conscious of Krishna. At every moment, and living with Krishna continuously, that is actually the real meaning of Krishna consciousness. Being conscious of Krishna all the time. So devotee on this platform, where they are attached to Krishna, is actually constantly thinking about Krishna, as living with Krishna. Being in connection with Krishna. And Prabhupada here writes that one of the powerful ways we can do it is chant the holy names of the Lord. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. If we chant the holy name of the Lord constantly, then we can be in touch with Krishna. Through the sound vibration, we can always be in touch with Krishna. And live with Krishna and be Krishna conscious. So this is, and of course one more verse, which, we have all heard before is Atas Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Graham Indriyai Sevan Mukhahi Jivado Swayameva Spurati. So it's not that Krishna will reveal himself just like that. And of course, our conditioned nature, generally we are, by default we distracted and we are, we follow the path of our conditioned nature. But we have to actually bring, at least at our level, we have to bring the mind back from whatever distractions we have into Krishna consciousness, into Krishna. One of the most powerful way we can do that is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And of course, that's what Prabhupada is saying here. Then we can come in direct contact with Krishna. So Prabhupada is talking about two things, and then he also talks about Krishna Prasadam. He talks about the chanting of the holy names of the Lord and also talks about Krishna Prasadam. Of course, elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, the purport, Prabhupada talks about how Krishna Prasadam, when we eat Prasadam, it has such a purifying effect. Right? Ahara Shuddho Sattva Suddhi, and then anyway, that verse goes on like that. It's from the Vedas. So just by eating this prasadam, what happens is, our mind becomes purified. Then our memory is clear. Then we can, seriously follow the path of Krishna consciousness. So it's very important that we take this so that we can aspire to come to this level where we are not distracted, but our consciousness seamlessly and attention seamlessly flows towards Krishna. And we can be in Krishna consciousness, not just when we perform devotional activities, but every moment. That is our aspiration. That is our aspiration. But all the great devotees, of course, Bhagavat Bhagavatamrita, Narada Muni is searching after the most exalted devotee, and he goes through so many devotees. So many of the devotees that actually is described, they are like the Pandavas, Hanuman, Prahlad Maharaj. They are constantly thinking about Krishna. Their consciousness is seemingly flowing, like how the Ganges is flowing towards the ocean, their consciousness is also flowing towards Krishna. So let's, any comments, any points you want to add? Yes, Shyam. And then Mataji.
So I have one question. So this is a very nice suggestion and probably a goal that we constantly think of Krishna. But how to make it happen? Where do we start? How shall we proceed? How shall we increase?
Well, you have to tell us the answer also. Well, yeah. I mean, I know. I mean, you know the answer, but I'll just repeat. The way we do it is we have to, we have to tip the scale. Tip the scale meaning right now, like how, whenever the floor is inclined in a certain way, right? If you pour water, what will happen? All the water will actually flow towards that particular inclination. So at least in my case, I have one leg in trying to keep one leg in spirituality and trying to keep, still my one leg is in, material life. So it's, so sometimes it's tipped in this direction and then the water flows like this, and sometimes it's tipped in that direction and the water is flowing like that. I mean, so the tip, you can say that the inclination, you can think of it as how our mind is inclined. So the mind is also inclined like how a floor is inclined. So sometimes when we come in contact with such inspiring devotees like Vaisheshika Maharaj and many other sannyasis in ISKCON, then we can see that the association has an effect on us. And because of the association, what happens is our mind is generally tipped towards materialistic life, and then it gets tipped to the other side. And then naturally we become attracted to Krishna consciousness and its activities. So, I mean, one answer, or one angle is the answer is to take association of people who have their, tips, or who has, changed that inclination towards Krishna. To have association of such devotees, and that association will have an impact on us. And then that will create momentum, and then we can continue with that momentum. That's one part of the answer. Any other, there are of course other things as well, which Prabhupada actually will talk about in the next verse. For Sadhaka Bhakti, which you are, leading us into at ISV, chanting 16 rounds, group, Prabhu runs a morning call actually, and he has an online group where people come together and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, 16 rounds. So Prabhupada will talk in the next verse about how for a sadhaka bhakti to tip that scale, then we have to actually follow the rules and regulations of sadhana bhakti, which is to wake up early, chant the holy names of the Lord a prescribed number of times, associate with devotees, read the Bhagavatam, read the Bhagavad Gita, and so on and so forth, and slowly, and progressively the scales will be tipped and flow towards Krishna. You want to add anything, Prabhu, for that? Any other? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. What I experience is a lot of fears at every step, especially when I'm defying my logical mind to do certain things. So there's a fear that comes up. What if that happens? Like your if else only, but it's in the opposite direction.
Right.
And then if I talk to somebody about it, then again I know chanting helps, but I'm not chanting 24 hours.
Right.
So how do we overcome the fears?
Yeah. How do you overcome the fear? I mean, let's look at the first canto. Do you know the verse, Prabhu? Apanam Shamshatam Gauram Yannama 1:114. Yes. Can we look up that verse? Srimad Bhagavatam 1:114. Yeah, there's a very beautiful verse, which talks about how to, of course, it's understandable, that, when we are not, when we are not, we're not purified, we're just, in the progressive stages of bhakti, then all these different anarthas will come out, and the solution is actually, to securely fasten or anchor to the holy shelter of the holy name. That is a real solution. But this is a beautiful verse which talks about how to actually overcome fear. Apanna shamshatam goram yannama vivashoghanan tata sadhyo vimuchyeta yad bhibeti swayam bhayam. So the translation, so living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. So by chanting the holy names of the Lord, one can actually feel the presence of Krishna, and by feeling the presence of Krishna, one's fear becomes removed. So this is the ultimate solution, which is actually to take shelter of Krishna, who's the remover of all these anarthas. But for the holy names to take effect, of course, it's going to take some time. Right now, our faith is very komal shraddha. There are, as they say, as we progress in devotional service, there are different levels. There is and there are different categories of devotees as well. There is Kanishtadhikari, there is Madhyamadhikari, and then there is Uttamadhikari. So a person who's just begun or just going through that journey, they generally fall under the beginner level, where our faith is still very fragile. Our faith in Krishna is still very fragile. Because our faith in Krishna is very fragile, many of the life situations can affect us, and also, whatever sometimes there can also be fear, there can be other qualities also like anger and so on and so forth. So there are many reasons why, one reason, why we feel fearful is because we don't have enough faith in Krishna. Krishna will protect us, as they say. Of course, it also has to be understood on a spiritual level. One of the 6 symptoms of surrender is anukulesha sankalpa, pratikulesha varjanam, rakshashayashe vishvat. So, goptartve varanam tata, atmanikshepa karpanya, shadvidha sharanagati. So one of the things is that Krishna is my maintainer and he is my protector. And And even if there are reverse, that doesn't mean that devotee will not face any reversals in life. Devotees, like any other being in this world, everybody will face up and down in their lives. Devotees also will face reversals. But a devotee knows that, even if there are so-called reversals in my life, actually it's for my own purification. Actually, Krishna is doing it so that I can become more attached to him. So a very advanced devotee sees in that manner. So when a reversal comes for a very advanced devotee sees in that manner that, as Vaisheshika Prabhu, in his book, he says, it's whenever there is, tough situation, reversals or setbacks, generally the tendency of all of us is to ask, what do we ask? Why me? So that is natural, actually, In fact, I also behave the same way. But then the real question to ask is, as we grow in our bhakti yoga process, a very mature devotee asks the question. He doesn't ask the question, why me? He asks the question, what is the lesson? So that takes a lot of faith. And that takes a lot of realization that Krishna is all good, and whatever is happening is, not even a blade of grass can move without Krishna as well. And Krishna is allowing something to happen means, then even if I don't like it, then there should be some, lesson and purification for me there. So a very advanced devotee can see like that. But then, for us, practitioners, it's very difficult to operate at that level. So that's why we need the Sangha. Whenever we go through all these different emotions, of course, fear is one of them, and then there is anger, there is greed, there are so many other negative qualities. So we need the Sangha to actually help us process all these things. So the devotee association there, like our mentors, guides, friends, they can help us to process all these different emotions so that we can actually continue to our forward momentum in Krishna consciousness. Is that okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or points? It has to scan my face to unlock. Yeah, so this is, so let's go to the next verse, which is 12.9. It's a very nice verse, very apt verse for all the sadhakas who are practicing. All of us, or at least me actually. Acha ata chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi sthiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichchaptum dhananjaya. Translation. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So it's a very wonderful translation. So many things packed into that one translation. So Krishna is basically from the previous verse is now, okay, if you're not able to follow that, where you're constantly thinking of me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, which is Sadhana Bhakti. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So what does Sadhana Bhakti help us to do? Actually, Sadhana Bhakti, ultimately, it refines our intention. It refines our desire. So as we follow the process of Bhakti Yoga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu talked about 64 items of devotional service, out of which 5 are very potent. And so when we follow these 5 methods of devotional service, which is chanting the holy names of the Lord, worshipping the deity, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, and living in the holy place. So these are the 5 potent ways of devotional service. So when we engage in this devotional practices, what happens? It purifies our heart, it purifies our intention, it purifies our desires. It's not that we don't have any desires, just that it purifies, it refines the desires. And for desire for what? Desire to attain Krishna. It intensifies the desire. It increases the desire. And the same thing happens when we associate with somebody who has an intense desire to serve Krishna, intense desire to be with Krishna, intense desire to continue to love Krishna. Then we also, we can also be impacted when we come in association of such wonderful saintly people, and we can also experience that, having a desire to actually attain Krishna. And of course, Krishna says if we cannot fix the mind, of course that is true. And that's why Krishna in the 6th chapter also he says, yato nischalati manaschanchalam astiram tatas tato niyameitad atman eva vasham nayed. So for people who, the last verse was for people who actually they were able to seamlessly focus on Krishna. Now this verse is for people whose mind is unsteady, actually. And so that's why that verse from the 6th chapter, the translation is, from wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. And so this is for sadhakas. So this verse is very important because the mind is going to be unsteady. And from wherever it's wandering, we have to bring it back and focus it on the holy names, focus it on Krishna. So that is the struggle. So one time, my Guru Maharaj, one devotee, one of my god brothers, he asked my Guru Maharaj asked him, how are you doing? And then he responded back saying that I'm struggling. And Maharaj said, that's very good. Because if you're not struggling, then there is something wrong. So that struggle is there. That is so struggle is there. Why? Because the mind is inclined in a certain direction. The mind is inclined towards sense gratification. The mind is inclined towards material life. But we actually want to, go towards Krishna consciousness. So that is a struggle. So by following the sadhana bhakti, our hope is that we will be able to, by Krishna's mercy, we will be able to tip the scales and make the mind inclined towards Krishna. So let's read the purport. Can one of you read purport? Very beautiful purport actually, by Srila Prabhupada.
In this verse, 2 different processes of bhakti yoga are indicated. The first applies to one who has actually developed an attachment for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love.
So that is the previous verse. So Prabhupada here is talking about the previous verse. The first one applies to one who has developed an attachment for Krishna.
And the other is for one who has not developed an attachment for the Supreme Person by transcendental love. For this second class, there are different prescribed rules and regulations one can follow to be ultimately elevated to the stage of attachment to Krishna. Bhakti Yoga is the purification of the senses. At the present moment in material existence, the senses are always impure, being engaged in sense gratification. But by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, these senses can become purified. And in the purified state, they come directly in contact with the Supreme Lord. In this material existence, I may be engaged in some service to some master, but I don't really lovingly serve my master. I simply serve to get some money. And the master also is not in love. He takes service from me and pays me. So there is no question of love. But for spiritual life, one must be elevated to the pure stage of love. That stage of love can be achieved by the practice of devotional service performed with the present senses.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this. Anyway, I just want to quote one more verse from the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, which Rishabhdev also says the same thing. You know, Rishabha Vacha, Nayam Deho, Deha Bhajam Riloke, Kashtan Kaman Arhate Vidbhujamye, Tapo Divyam, Putraka Ena Satvam, Shuddhyed, Yasmad Brahma Saukyam Tva Anantam. So he says that Lord Rishabhdev is actually telling this to his sons, very similar to this paragraph in the purport, because we are always, attracted to the sense gratification or living on the bodily platform of life. And but that is not the real goal of human life. What is the goal of human life? Rishabhdev says, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted the material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available to even hogs and dogs that eat stool. I mean, of course, it's a strong, it's a truth, it's a powerful statement. It's a real state. It's true. Actually, the sense gratification is available to all the animals as well. So human life cannot just be lived for, just satisfaction for the body or the sense, bodily satisfaction and mental satisfaction. Then we're just blowing the whole, the whole purpose and mission of human form of life. So then he says one should engage in penance and tapo divyam putrakena sattvam. What is the real goal of human life is to actually, that's purification, that's refinement. So one should actually perform tapasya or austerity. Austerity means, something you do that you really don't like for a higher reward, right? There is austerity. So the goal of human life is to perform austerity, so that we can actually achieve the real goal of human life, which is Krishna consciousness. So one should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains his position, he attains eternal blissful life. So this is what we should aspire for, eternal blissful life. And we can actually, so the goal of human form of life is refinement, is tapasya, is austerity, to perform austerity, so that actually can purify my heart and come to the spiritual platform. Yeah, let's continue with the purport. And Prabhupada is saying the same thing here, where he is saying that the senses have to be purified by Krishna consciousness. It's right now running towards, sense gratification, but it has to be, the mind and the senses have to be purified. And this is something we can also pray to Krishna, right? When we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, there are some very beautiful prayers actually that we can offer these beautiful prayers to Krishna to basically, one prayer I just recently, I got a forward. I thought it was a very, very, nice prayer. It's not a sloka or something like that, but it's very practical prayer where, the devotee is praying, oh Krishna, when we are chanting, instead of chanting mechanically, how do we put our heart into chanting? We have to put our heart, into chanting. In the previous verse, Prabhupada is saying that we have to live with Krishna, or live in Krishna, or be Krishna conscious. How, at least we can try to be with Krishna or live with Krishna while chanting the holy names of the Lord. And how we can do that? Then we have to bring our heart there. Right? It's not just a repetition of the holy names just at the lip level, or it's just some mechanical adjustment where we are trying to, mechanically adjust. We are where our heart is. It's as simple as that. Our attention is where our heart is. Our consciousness is where our heart is. Now, how can we bring our heart to Krishna? We can ask that question. How can I bring my heart towards Krishna? Then when we chant the holy names of the Lord, then, we want to connect with Krishna. When our heart is there, then we actually want to connect with Krishna. So, can somebody like a sadhaka, a person who's doing sadhana bhakti, can you give some points how we can bring our heart to Krishna while chanting the holy names of the Lord from your practical experience? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. One thing is like the most important thing what I personally think when chanting is there is no difference between the holy name and the person, the Supreme Lord. Nam Namina, like that's, there is Bhinnatma Nam Namina. So if we have that in heart, then we will understand that this the holy name what we are trying to chant is non-different than the Supreme, and that's the reason why we have to understand that way.
So you keep reminding yourself of that point so that actually your heart is also placed while with the holy names. Nice. Any other points? Yes, Prabhu wants to share something.
Thank you, Prabhuji. For me, I felt, Prabhuji, when we take shelter of the natural modes of nature, like mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, like early in the morning if we chant, then that helps easily put our heart in Krishna, because not just me, but the external atmosphere is helping me add to easily put the heart in Krishna. Otherwise, any other time of the day, it becomes difficult. So just one.
Yeah, very nice. Nice point. Any other points? Few points I was thinking about is, one thing that also brings our, heart and connection with Krishna is actually gratitude. Actually, gratitude is a powerful process. We can, think of ways how actually Krishna is helping us, Krishna is maintaining us. And if we actually if we make it a daily practice to offer gratitude, Krishna, thank you for, keeping me in the association of Krishna has given us so many gifts, right? That, that's very rare actually. So, thank you for giving us, this association of devotees. Thank you for, giving your darshan in the form of the deity. So many gifts that Krishna is giving us. Krishna has put us in a place where we can chant the holy names of the Lord. So if we can offer our gratitude to Krishna, then that is also a powerful emotion by which we can connect with Krishna. And another powerful way is prayers, by which we can actually place our heart with Krishna by offering prayers, by feeling grateful. And these are some of the ways. Of course, there are other methods, Prabhu's talked about. Yeah, these are some of the ways we can actually connect with Krishna and make our chanting more meaningful. So the senses are, of course, devotees in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is described that the senses are bad masters, and how it's actually it's never why it's bad masters, because we keep serving the senses and the mind, but they are never satisfied. They don't even give us a break actually. They keep demanding day in and day out, from us. So we have to purify our senses, and the best way to purify our senses is to actually focus on Krishna or Krishna conscious activities and engage the senses practically. This is actually Krishna will say in the next verse, engage our senses and the body in some practical services that we can do in direct service of Krishna. So Krishna will mention this in the next verse, because Krishna will now say, okay, if you cannot follow sadhana bhakti, then you actually engage in direct service to me. So Krishna will say that. Like for example, we come here, we engage in so many services here in the temple. Actually, cook, cleaning, and serving, and and so on and so forth. So Krishna will tell that in the next verse. So let's continue with the rest of the purport. Anyone wants to read? Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. This love of God is now in a dormant state in everyone's heart. And there, love of God is manifested in different ways, but it is contaminated by material association. Now the heart has to be purified of the material association, and that dormant natural love for Krishna has to be revived. That is the whole purpose.
Yeah. I think it's very clear what Prabhupada is mentioning here. Love of Godhead is there within our heart and it has to be revived. Next verse. Next paragraph. Can somebody read? Or Mataji can only read.
Thank you. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna, then collect flowers to offer to the deity, cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity, take prasadam and so on. There are various rules and regulations which one should follow, and one should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. This practice can help anyone rise to the level of God, and then he is sure of his progress into the spiritual kingdom of God. This practice of Bhakti Yoga, under the rules and regulations, with the direction of a spiritual master, will surely bring one to the stage of love of God.
Yeah. So this is the sadhana bhakti process that we were discussing thus far. Any comments? Questions? Or we can go to the... Yes, Prabhu.
You were mentioning that we have to engage our lives completely in service. I see practically there is two things which I wanted to get your inputs on, Roji. One is on the professional level. These days we know they make you run on the fear factor. So I see it in my life and in many of my friends' lives.
Right.
That fear factor seems to be making you go through engage more than what is needed time in professional work and things like that. But so that's one aspect. But the other aspect we also see from devotional side, we say is that we are given there was always 2 inches short when Krishna is trying to when Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna, and it is said that 1 inch is our effort, the other is Krishna's mercy. So now there are 2 things. One is on one side where we are trying to put too much effort, but then there is also the thing that we have to put effort. So how do you actually kind of say that we just do as much as is needed, but really give a lot more time to our developing our spirituality?
Yeah, that's a very good question actually. Yeah, certainly the people can exploit that fear factor, especially, and that's why they are doing it. To basically make more profit and to squeeze every ounce of energy out of you. That's what they are doing that. But as far as devotees are concerned, we can ultimately what we can do, we can do our best, right? So my answer to that would be to do what you can, and the rest is with Krishna. So even if you give your best, there is no guarantee that things will be stable or you will have your job and so on and so forth. That's why Krishna says, Padma Patra Ivam Bhasha. How does this word start? No. Let me look it up. So Krishna says, as Vaisheshika Prabhu also, he has made this phrase, right? Live like a lotus. So, yes, we have to do what is dutiful. We will do what is needful. But ultimately, we are dependent on Krishna. Our dependence is on Krishna. And Krishna knows what's happening. And, of course, when we don't do our duty, then, that's not a very good thing. We have to perform our duty properly, as mentioned in many, many verses. The 3rd chapter and the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The verse that I'm looking at is in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I think it's 5:11. Let's see. 5:10. The verse goes like Brahmani adhya karmani sangam tyaktva karotiya lipyatena sapapena padma patra ivam basha. So Krishna says that one who performs his duty without attachment, Surrendering the results unto Supreme Lord is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Now, so that is the art of working. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga, actually. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga. So one has to come, of course, it's understandable. There is some level of fear because it is question of one's livelihood and so on and so forth. But what can you do? I mean, everybody has a limit. Everybody has a limit. So we can do whatever we can do to the best of our ability and depend on Krishna. That's what exactly Krishna says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, let's see, I think it's 18th chapter, 57th verse. So Krishna says, Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasa matpara buddhi yogam upashritya machitta satatam bhava. So Krishna says, 1857, he says, in all activities just depend on me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So this is Krishna telling Arjuna directly that, all activities depend on Krishna and then always work under Krishna's protection. And in that way, be fully conscious. Ultimately, even the ability that we have, Krishna says, Shabdeke Paurusham Nrishu, right? So I am the ability in man. And Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi, Tejas Tejas Vinamaham, Balam Balavita Chaham, Balam Balavita Chaham, and then, I think I am going to the next verse. Okay. So intelligence is, coming from Krishna, the ability is coming from Krishna, everything is coming from Krishna ultimately. So we have to, depend more on Krishna and do to the best of our ability. And that's what ultimately that's a karmani vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So even if we do, the thing is that the beauty of if we do to the best of our ability and even something bad happens, then at least we won't feel guilty. Okay, I did to the best of my ability. Still, it's Krishna's will. Whatever happens is Krishna's will. So ultimately, we have to come to that level of understanding and depending on Krishna like that. Because if we come, the other side is what is dangerous. So if we start taking shortcuts in Krishna consciousness to satisfy, our boss or it's like that I think it is Ramachandra Khan or not Ramachandra Khan. I mean one who actually lost his religion also and the Durga Mandap also. I don't which in Chaitanya Charitamrita it talks about the person who works along with the Muslim ruler and tries to defame the devotee, but then he loses his own Ramachandra Khan, right? He loses his religion also, and then he becomes a Muslim also. I mean, the sense that they do that practice. So similarly, we have to be very careful. Unless that's why Prabhupada is saying here, it has to be practiced under the expert guidance of a spiritual master. So we have to take guidance from our mentors, and we have to see how we can actually balance it out. But in general, if we, start cutting, taking shortcuts in Krishna consciousness to satisfy the other way, generally it doesn't end very well. It's better to go full, be very sincere in Krishna consciousness and try to do the best of our ability. Of course, at least that's Krishna's recommendation here in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In all activities, depend on me and work under my protection. Is that okay? No? Any other points or questions or comments? Okay, let's go to the next verse. We'll just look at this verse. So now Krishna will give the next. Abhyasa api asamartosi matkarma paramo bhava Madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapshasi. Translation: if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, which is the sadhana Bhakti Krishna was talking about in the previous verse, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So, of course, the Acharyas explain here that so offering one's activities, even though, many of us work for Krishna, in the sense, we do activities in the temple, we do many devotional services and so on and so forth. And also your work can be, your occupational duty can also be work for Krishna if you are able to align that with Krishna's cause. If you are able to align that with Krishna's cause, then your occupational duty also becomes devotional activity. So here Krishna is saying that even, here the Acharyas comment that, offering all the activities to Krishna. Even if performing the activity, we may not consciously remember Krishna, but just by offering our activity to Krishna, slowly will grow and our consciousness will become filled with Krishna over a period of time. So like that, Krishna goes through, next few verses like that. Maybe we can just read the translation of the next two verses and then we can pause there for more discussions. If, however, you are unable to work in consciousness of me, and then, so this is next level. So what is the first level Krishna talked about? Yeah, absorb you, be in full consciousness of me, with your mind and intelligence dedicated to me. If you cannot do that, then follow the sadhana bhakti, follow the path of sadhana bhakti. If you cannot do that, then work for me. If you cannot do that, now Krishna is going to talk about the next option. Now we can see where we can fit ourselves in. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. So here Krishna is talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Krishna is, can we look at the purport? Very beautiful purports actually. Anyway, I think we are running out of, can you go back to the previous verse, Prabhu? I just wanted to, okay, let's read this purport and then we'll conclude there. Anyone wants to read?
It may be that one is unable even to sympathize with the activities of Krishna consciousness because of social, familial, or religious considerations, or because of some other impediments. If one attaches himself directly to the activities of Krishna consciousness, there may be objections from family members, or so many other difficulties. For one who has such a problem, it is advised that he sacrifice the accumulated result of his activities to some good cause. Such procedures are described in the Vedic rules. There are many descriptions of sacrifices and special functions for the full moon day, and there is special work in which the result of one's previous action may be applied. Thus, one may gradually become elevated to the state of knowledge. It is also found that when one who is not even interested in the activities of Krishna consciousness gives charity to some hospital or some other social institution, he gives up the hard-earned results of his activities. That is also recommended here, because by the practice of such giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually, and in that purified stage of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, it's very important. Of course, here Krishna is talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga, where one actually gives up the results of the activities. As elsewhere in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what is that verse? Krishna says, Yagyartho karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samacharaha. So Krishna says work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. So therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you'll always remain free from bondage. So this is the principle of Nishkama Karma Yoga, where, okay, you're not able to directly do work for Krishna, at least renounce the results of the activities. I mean, use it for some good cause or a higher cause or a noble cause, other than just thinking about yourself. So by performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, what happens? Prabhupada writes in that purport. Huh?
He'll come to the platform of
Yes,
Karma.
he will come to one's heart becomes purified. By performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, what happens is, of course, Krishna also talks about it in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita in great detail, but by performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, what happens is, by giving a portion of the result giving up, a portion of the result for a good cause, what happens is one hearts become purified. And that's what Krishna calls as yajna. The 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about yajna. So when one performs some sort of yajna, best is to perform the yajna for Krishna. If you are not at that level, at least perform yajna. So when you perform yajna, or when sacrifice, which is giving, when you give, generally the tendency is to take, right? That is the tendency of the human mind, at least in this Kali Yuga, right? What is in it for me? I want to take. But then, of course, Krishna also talks about that. One who lives for the satisfaction of the senses lives in, this is in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One who lives in the satisfaction of the senses lives in vain. So one who just lives in a very selfish manner, he actually lives in vain. This is what Lord Krishna says. And then he also says that the all-pervading transcendence is present in acts of sacrifice. So Krishna is present in this yajna. Even though the yajna may not directly be connected with Krishna in the platform of Nishkama Karma Yoga, but when we give, when we sacrifice, what happens is it purifies our heart. Because it's actually Krishna's system. This is Krishna's system of purification. So it purifies our heart. Then when the heart is purified of the material propensities, so what material propensities we have? We have propensities to enjoy this world, to lord it over the material nature, to exploit, and so on and so forth. That all these enemies are there within our heart. But then when the heart becomes purified, then naturally it results in knowledge and detachment. And when there is a little bit of knowledge and detachment, that's where the whole process of yoga starts. And slowly, then one comes to the platform of jnana. And then slowly comes to the platform of the gradual method is one then comes to dhyana and then comes to the platform of bhakti, like that. So here Krishna is talking about, if you cannot follow all these different rules, at least try to sacrifice the results of your activities. Let's read the last few lines and then we'll.
Of course, Krishna consciousness is not dependent on any other experience, because Krishna consciousness itself can purify one's mind. But if there are impediments to accepting Krishna consciousness, one may try to give up the results of his actions.
Yeah, let's just pause there. So one point I just wanted to conclude with is that of course in today's age, performing all the other yajnas, there are many yajnas prescribed in the Vedas. Performing all the other yajnas is practically impossible. But what is the topmost yajna? Harinam Sankirtan. Yajnanam japa yagyosmi. Krishna says in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Yajnanam of japa yagyosmi. For all the yajnas, the topmost yajna is japa. So when we chant the holy names of Krishna, that's what Prabhupada is also saying there. He's saying that you don't have to do all these different yajnas, but when we engage in Krishna conscious activities on the process of Bhakti Yoga, then automatically the highest yajna is already performed. And then one's heart becomes purified. One's heart and mind becomes purified, and slowly it becomes tilted towards Krishna. The inclination of the mind becomes tilted towards Krishna. So I'll pause there. There is an announcement. Gaur Arati will be led by Radha Vallabh Prabhu. Narsimha prayers will be led by Brajaras Bhavana Prabhu. Any final comments? Questions? We have few more minutes. Yes, Shamru Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the very wonderful class. You covered so many points, different stages of devotional service. So coming to this current verse, the purport also we read, full moon day, we have special activity. I think we have two very special occasions coming. One is indeed full moon day, which is Bhadra Purnima, which is end of this month. I believe 26th September probably. So we have great opportunity to do Niskam Karma. I mean, it's a devotional service more than Niskam Karma. It's a
Yagyo by Vishnu, yeah.
And another is 11th September, Wednesday, Sri Radhashtami. So we have two great occasions coming where we can definitely engage this verse, we can follow practically.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Bhadra Purnima, it's a very auspicious occasion where you can actually gift Srimad Bhagavatam to, it's said in the Shastra and Srimad Bhagavatam itself that if you gift, the text to somebody on Bhadra Purnima, then you're, you're assured of going back home, back to Godhead. So this is the yajna we can perform. So it's yajna for actually, as Krishna says, yat karoshi yad ajnashi yat juhoshi tadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever austerities you perform, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever charities you do, Krishna says, do it as an offering to me. So we can perform this yajna to actually benefit the whole humanity and also benefit ourselves in that process. And please Krishna by this yajna. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for reminding us of Bhadra Purnima. And of course, Radhashtami is also coming. So it's such a joyful. How many of you were there for Janmashtami? Yes, many of you were there for Janmashtami. And how was such a joyous festival, right? Janmashtami. And similarly, Radhashtami is also coming, which is not this Wednesday, but the coming Wednesday. And it will be another joyous occasion where we'll be glorifying Srimati, appearance day, celebrating the appearance day of Srimati Radharani, who's very, very dear to Krishna. Any final comments or questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, the last few minutes I attended, so you said that give away everything, so that's okay. And also you said...
No, I didn't. No, just to clarify, of course, one has every right to actually, keep some savings, keep something to maintain his or her own livelihood. Give a portion of the results. Krishna recommends giving a portion of that. Of course, Prabhupada in the purport also talks about giving a portion of your result for a higher cause.
So it was very difficult following all those Vaishnav's principles. Very tough because how devotee survive, because people around you always they are materialistic nature. So I think that devotee will get cheated by the material persons, because you have a tendency to help them, to love them, but people they will exploit that kindness or charity. So then how actually will border it that?
No, it's not just see, the thing is I think you're talking about the philanthropic activities that people do, right? Like how the charity, people give charity, or the philanthropic activities. I mean, no, it's not just devotees only do. A lot of people do actually philanthropic or charity activities. But of course, one has to be thoughtful about it. Devotees are not, it's a nice sentiment you're having. Devotees, are very nice people, and then they may get cheated. But actually, devotees are also very smart.
Yeah, so that I actually wanted to learn that how people, like how devotees survive in this atmosphere, because I experience people around us, it's not really, all the peoples are not really nice, so which is very difficult, like it's hard sometimes. So how devotee tackle this kind of situation, even though having so much this kind of situation, but still they remain good, nice.
Yeah.
How it is possible?
No, that's because of the Krishna conscious process, which comes from the association of devotees. Devotees are able to, devotees, of course there is always a struggle, but overall, devotees are able to remain as devotees because of the Krishna conscious process, which actually comes, that's the inspiration for that comes the association of devotees. So it's the association of devotees which gives the strength. It's the 5 devotional process which we talked about, in the middle of the lecture. We talked about the 5 potent devotional activities. So by engaging in those 5 potent devotional activities, the devotees get the strength to remain in devotional service even in this Kali Yuga and even in this environment. Is that okay? I think we are. Yeah, I will. Yeah, we will. I think I have to conclude here because it's over time. But I will talk to you offline. Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Sundarananda Prabhu ki.
So we will now take the asana and we'll put it, the back of the rooms at its respective places, and then we'll gather and be ready for Arati. Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbishesa Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jayo Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe Jayo Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe Jayo Radha Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gauramanande Hari Bol. Radha Madan Mohan Sri Arati ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagwan ki jai, Sri Mahaprabhu ki jai, Samut Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gauramanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Please have a seat. We will have Narsimha Arati now. So today's Narsimha Arati we would like to dedicate to mother of Her Grace Prema Kishori Mataji. As you, most of the devotees know that her mother is in hospital. So we like to pray to Lord Narasimhadev, if he so desire, please protect Sita Lakshmi Mataji, the mother of Her Grace Prema Kishori Mataji, so that she recovers fast and renders service at the lotus feet of Lord Narasimha. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Jaya Nrsingadev, 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 Jaya Nrsingadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Shri Nrsingadev Bhagavan ki, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Can we turn on the lights at the back, please? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. We welcome you all to the Sunday Feast Festival here at ISKCON of Silicon Valley on the first Sunday of September. Hare Krishna. We would like to... Okay. Yes, please have a seat. Yeah. We would like to thank His Grace, Sundarananda Prabhu, for bringing us today's Krishna Katha from the Bhagavad Gita. Hari Bol. Let's give a big round of applause. Hari Hari Bol. We would like to thank His Grace Radha Vallabh Prabhu for leading us the Arati. Hari Hari Bol. And Brajaras Bhavana Prabhu for bringing us the Narsimha Arati. Hari Hari Bol. Hope you had a very blissful week. Everyone came for the Janmashtami. Did anyone miss? Who came to the Janmashtami? Okay. So we had a very, very ecstatic festival here on the day of Janmashtami, which was on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we had the Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja ceremony. So we had close to more than 12,000 devotees visited our temple, and more than 300 devotees volunteer across more than 35 teams. So let's give a big round of applause to all the teams and the volunteers. Hari 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 Bol. Hari Bol. Anyone coming here for the first time? Thank you. We have quite a few devotees. Thank you. We have a regular week programs. We have programs on Saturday morning, which starts at 6:15 a.m., goes all the way till 10 a.m. And then on Sunday, we have 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. And on Wednesday, we have an online class from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So please do visit us anytime. You can come anytime. And we will be happy to have you here. And let's chant one Mahamantra for all the newcomers. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We will also like to thank His Grace Ramananda Saka Prabhu for bringing us the broadcasting of today's program. Hari Bol. We have one sponsor for tonight's feast, Akash Sharma Prabhu and Poonam Mataji. They are sponsoring on the occasion of their son Agastya's 3rd birthday. Please, Prabhu, please come. Hari Bol. Is Agastya here? No. But okay. Please come. Thank you, Prabhu, for sponsoring the feast. Would you like to say a few words?
Hare Krishna, we would just like to request prayers of all the devotees so that Agastya can continue to grow in association of devotees and grow spiritually. Thank you.
Okay. Hari Bol. I'll give you the Mahaprasad little later, Prabhu. Hari Bol. So, Yashodakra Prabhu. Whose birthday? Oh, Martha's birthday today. Okay, let's chant one Maha Mantra for her birthday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As you know, she is visiting us for a very, very long time. She comes from very far, all by herself and I think her companion. So thank you, Mataji, for visiting us and giving your association. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Now we will, Siddhi will announce the cooks for tonight feast.
Hare Krishna. Today's Sunday cooks are Nilachal Chandra Mataji, Hari Sankirtan Prabhu, Shilata Mataji, Devi Kumari Mataji, Renali Mataji, Mahendra Prabhu, Sanket Shukla Prabhu, Tadaya Seva Prabhu, Mayank Prabhu, Akash Prabhu, and Abhijit Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Now we'll like to go to the Prasad Sevya prayers. Madhuri Sakhi, can you please sing?
Sharira vidya jo hindiya kahika